So I recently came across a book called Nonviolent Communication, The Language of Life by Marshall Rosenberg. And it was interesting because three different people from totally different parts of the world recommended this book to me, and one person even gave it to me over a 1-week period. And when something like that happens, I take notice. I figure it's the universe trying to communicate something to me. So I read this book, and what struck me about the book more than anything is the realization that so much of the stresses in our lives, the pain and the stress and the trauma and the fear and all these things that can cause weight gain, so much of it is the result of the relationships that we have in our lives and our inability to work out conflicts and differences, whether it's with your parents or with your partner or with your boss, coworkers, friends, or just strangers on the street. But that conflict, being able to work through conflicts and differences, number one, being able to express yourself effectively, being able to hear other people and come to a level of communication is a skill that needs to be acquired. And when I read this book, I realized that there's so much that I need to learn about how to communicate with the people in my life, and that any of the stresses that I've ever had throughout my life that have caused me to gain weight, the real fears and stresses, 80% of them, I'd say, were related to conflicts that I've had with people in my life. And so this book I recommend this book because it gives you some really, really good techniques for communicating with people, for really listening to people, listening behind what they're saying and understanding what they're really, really needing, and for more importantly, or just as important, for you to be able to express your needs and your concerns. Because a lot of times, if we're not able to express ourselves properly, if we're pent up and blocked, we tend to eat and it causes stress, and we tend to gain weight because we're just blocked and we're not able to express ourselves. We're frustrated. And then our relationships aren't going the way we want them to go because we can't communicate our needs effectively. We're not getting what it is that we want from people. That causes pain, fear, loneliness, anxiety. And of course, when other people aren't able to express what they need to us and we're not able to hear them, that can cause all kinds of anger from them, which can cause fear from us. So it's all about relationships and learning how to communicate. This is a great book for it. Again, I recommend it. But I also want to ask the question to you, what are some strategies that you have for communicating effectively? Number one, for expressing in a calm, centered, relaxed way what it is that you need, because that's a really hard thing for people to do. Usually people get a little bit tense and are afraid of the confrontation when they want to ask something from someone. So what's a good way to communicate what it is that you need, and what are some good strategies for hearing other people? In essence, the question of the day, what I really want to ask you is, what's the best way to communicate with the people in our lives that are important to us, what we need, and understand what they need, and learn how to work with them so that we can reduce the stresses in our lives and help make weight loss so much easier. So any thoughts that you have about it, I'd love to hear. Again, I recommend the book, and let's talk about it. Thanks.